The main focus of this chapter, at least for me anyway, was having the rules laid out for this first part of the chunin exam.
Naruto, number 40, the first test.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and tantalizing and test-ridden tale, a lot of T's there, of Naruto. Our last chapter saw us with really just kind of getting introduced formally to some of the other cells and informally to some of them, as we saw the chapter ending up with the cell from the village of Sound being kind of offended that Kabuto did not in fact have much of a dossier or a file on them. You know, kind of felt like the red-headed stepchild, and the chapter ended up with them being like, we're gonna show him, you know, so typical troublemakers trying to pull their troublesome making. Anyway, that's where the chapter left off, and that's where things pick up right over here. And really it's a tale of two chapters. The first half of it is really the Three Stooges from the Village of Sound. And honestly, they have a couple of them are pretty cool looking character designs, but one of them just looks like this. He's got like one eye showing and his headband on, and the rest of his face is wrapped, and I don't know, he reminds me of like a cross between sort of like the Hunchback of Notre Dame and like what's his name, Mumra from the Thundercats. But and I don't even know who this character is yet because they don't introduce any of them. We just know that this is the cell from the Village of Sound. So anyway, during a series during the course of the first few pages, we kind of see them enacting and actually going to, you know, put into play this move that they're going to do, or that's going to be done on Kabuto. And if you remember, Kabuto was the fella, you know, he had the glasses. He's his seventh time testing over the last 4 years, but he's the one that has over 200 different, you know, cards, I guess, with these different, all different types of things about the actual exams, you know, the participants, everything else. So, nonetheless, though, it winds up culminating in this move trying to be performed on him to kind of teach him a lesson or what have you. And he's so fast that he actually sees it coming and he's actually able to dodge it. However, as he goes and dodges it and then kind of comes out of this thing, and even Sasuke goes and talks about how like lightning fast he is, you know, almost faster than the eye can perceive, Kabuto goes and moves out of the way, and then his glasses shatter, right? Shatter and fall off. And then a couple seconds later, he's hunched over and he's like, sorry, I just saw Goonies the other day. When Chunk's telling the story, he's like, and then everybody started throwing up on each other, and then I made this sound, and it was like this. So sorry. If you haven't seen Goonies, it's definitely worth watching just for that scene alone, but that's all I could think of when I saw this Kabuto throwing up over here. So anyway, everyone's trying to figure out, mainly like Sasuke is kind of having a little inner dialogue in his head going, as well as Rock Lee, and they're like, okay, well, clearly he dodged the move, but what is it that, you know, actually, why did he wind up getting sick afterwards, you know? Well, first, you know, well, how come his glass is broken? Well, maybe, you know, he grazed his nose or whatever while he was moving, so that explains that. But these three fellows, I wasn't calling them the Three Stooges, but I don't know what importance they do play, so I don't want to downplay them at all, but they certainly seem like a few goofy-ass jokesters. But they haven't been introduced yet either, so that kind of makes me worried as well. You know, it's cautiously optimistic, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? If you haven't been introduced yet and you've been seen, either you're a throwaway character that we're not going to see much more of, and you're just going to be embarrassed at some point, or you're a bigger character that we're not yet revealing who you are because you're a bigger, you know, character, antagonist, what have you. So, but anyway, then they wind up kind of deducing, you know, Rock Lee was like, you know, he's so fast, he was able to move, dodged the blow, but obviously they did something else to actually make him sick afterwards. So maybe they had a secondary plan in place that you know, that relied obviously on not just that speed that he had. So I thought it was very cool the way it was played out. But anyway, as all this is going on, then all of a sudden we kind of get a you know, everyone sit down and shut up, you know, which I thought was funny. And what is this guy's name over here? I forget, and I'm probably going to mispronounce it, but he is Morino, which obviously his last name is, and it's Ibiki, so I don't know if that's Ibiki or Ibikai. I'm not really sure how it's pronounced, and honestly, a lot of times I try to record these in advance, so unless he introduces himself as the proctor, and obviously the one that's going to be administering the first phase of the exam. So really, he might wind up, before I can even get into comments and people telling me the proper way of pronouncing it, I may have moved on already. But anyway, nonetheless, though, Abiki or Ibukai, whatever you want to call him, he kind of comes in with his crew of people and lets everybody know that there's going to be no bullshit, right? So the first thing he winds up saying is that there will be no fighting amongst each other, or you will be disqualified. No questions asked. You don't fight with anybody else unless you have express permission for whatever reason or another. And even if you do have permission, if you seriously harm, seriously injure or kill another student, something like that, immediate disqualification. So you got to play nice, And this guy comes in and he's the hammer, man. He comes in and he lets everybody know, sit down, shut up, come take these seating cards and you're going to sit down, whatever. And they're all random, right? So the cells don't get to sit next to each other or anything else. And then he goes and he lays out, that's why I said this is a tale of two halves, because the first half was very much like the action and all about these three people from the Village of Sound and how Kabuto dodged and everything. The second half is all like no nonsense, like this is the start, this is the first part of the exam, this is how it's going to work out. So the first part of the exam is a written test, right? And Naruto about shits his pants because we know he's not good at anything that has to do with writing. so that I thought was comical to begin with. But everybody gets randomly seated, and he's got some rules to the exam. You start out with 10 points, right? There's 10 questions on the exam. For each question that you get right, you retain one of your points, right? But for each question you get wrong, they take a point off. So obviously the example that they give is, if you have 3 wrong, you would get -3 points, so you'd have 7 points. But here's the kicker, the second part of it. The point system is a shared point system, so it's the sum of all parts. You can't copy off of or really utilize the other teammates in your cell, but it's a weighted score based on all 3 of your scores, okay? And the other thing I thought was kind of cool, the other little caveat, is that if one person gets 0 points, everybody fails in the cell, right? So if Naruto doesn't get something right, everybody can fail. The other thing, too, is that for he's going to have his people kind of walking around looking over shoulders, checking on everybody. And if anybody does anything out of the ordinary or they suspect them of cheating on this exam in any way, they're going to get 2 points deducted from their 10-point total. So, you're losing points, obviously, just on the... Because Sakura immediately is like, all right, I think I can make up for, Naruto, and I don't know if she knows what Sasuke's going to be able to do or not do, but even if Naruto bombs, I can still make up for it, blah, blah. And then he drops the bomb of, well, you gotta at least get some points. You can't wind up with none or you get disqualified. But I thought that was kind of a neat way. We'll start you with all the points, and then we'll give you just enough rope to hang yourselves, and that's really what they're doing here, And then if you try to cheat, boom, 2 points immediately taken off. So it's really kind of a cool system. I don't know what the minimum number of points are to actually pass to the next phase. I don't know if these points carry throughout the entire exam. So if you lose them all at any time, you're out. If you can gain them back, I'm not really sure. But I just thought it was kind of a cool twist on things, and I thought it was real neat how everything was set up. So then the chapter ends, though, with Naruto going there, and he's shitting bricks, right? And he's just like, God, I can feel them staring at me, and that they want to kill me. So, because obviously Sasuke's thinking, oh, God, now I gotta rely on this loser. And Sakura's like, God, I know Naruto's, and I had to help him fill out his damn application, It was funny, because when they were, a few chapters ago, when they were about to turn in the applications, or they were getting there, Naruto's like asking Sasuke or Sakura on the side. He's like, oh, where do I sign? And she's like, it says sign here. Can't you read? So Naruto is definitely challenged, to say the least, when it comes to this stuff. But really, I think the intrigue for me comes from this motley crew, the cell from the Village of Sound. So my chapter question, brothers and sisters, is 2 parts. Number 1, what are your thoughts on the initial rules that have been laid out for us on phase 1 of the exam? And part 2 to my question is, what are your thoughts on this cell from the Village of Sound? A bunch of blowhards that are just looking for attention, or somebody that I should watch out for? So let me know what your answers are in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, nation. To see more drawings like these, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and my other channel.